Hi, Two Free Campers. You've made it to week 6 of Camp Challenge. Hope everyone had a good weekend and that you're ready for your last week of camp. I'm very proud of how everyone's been keeping up with their lessons. Those of you who have been watching every week, very nice job. We're going to do a quick review of what we did last week, and then we're going to get started on an activity for this week that I think is pretty fun. We're going to do another story like we did 2 weeks ago. So last week, if you can think back to that, I want you to say out loud what we talked about. What was our activity? We also watched a little video, if you remember that. So tell me out loud what we did. Okay, so last week we talked about making inferences. And when we make an inference, we are kind of drawing a conclusion or looking at the information that we have and then figuring out a missing fact is a way you can think of it. We watched the video about the person robbing the bank and then someone assuming or making an inference that they would be spending time behind bars. So you have to make an inference when you're not given all the information in the story that you need, and you have to draw a conclusion on your own of what would happen. So today our questions don't really involve making inferences. They're more about picking out parts of the story and just following along with what happens. So the story that we're watching today is called Rent Party Jazz. And Rent Party is a real thing. It's kind of a new topic to me, or a new concept. So when I say rent party, what do you think of? Tell me out loud what comes to mind. Okay, so you may have heard of this before, you may not have. I hadn't before I watched this story, so it was completely new to me. The story Rent Party Jazz talks about a person in the community of the people in the story. One person can't afford to pay their rent for that month. So everyone in the community is going to come together and think of ways that they can help this person pay. And one of them is to throw a rent party. And someone's going to be playing jazz music there. It's a whole big get together of the community. They all come together to support each other. So I would like you to get out this page. This is what you're going to be following along with while we're watching the story. And we'll stop throughout to answer these questions. So no worries if you don't get them, we'll go over them after. And I just want you paying attention to the story and enjoying it, because you're going to learn a lot from it, but it's also a super fun story. So make sure you're paying attention throughout so that you can answer your poll question. And here we go.
Welcome to Storyline Online, brought to you by the SAG-AFTRA Foundation. I'm Viola Davis, and I'm reading Rent Party Jazz, written by William Miller and illustrated by Charlotte Riley Webb. Every morning as the sun was coming up, Sonny went to work for the coal man. "I sells my coal 2 bits a sack," the coal man cried out as they drove slowly down the street to the French Quarter.
Does anyone know where the French Quarter is? What they're talking about here? Okay, so the French Quarter is in New Orleans, Louisiana, which is down south.
Sonny wished he were back in his warm bed, but he knew how badly he and Mama needed the extra money. Even though he would spend the rest of the day in school, Sonny started the day like a working man. Sonny's job was to jump down and drag the sacks into the alleys, then shovel the coal down the chutes. He made 10 cents a day, 7 days a week. His mother worked in a fish canning factory. All day long, she packed fancy little fish, earning a penny for each can she filled. When Sonny and the coal man drove through Jackson Square, they would hear trumpet players blowing their horns. The musicians played any tune people wanted to hear, hoping listeners would drop a few coins into their hats. One morning, Sonny came home to find Mama sitting at the kitchen table. She looked like she had been crying. "What's the matter, Mama?" Sonny asked. "Are you sick?" "Worse than sick, Sonny. I've been let go from my job. These are some hard times, and folks aren't buying much fancy fish. Might be 3, 4 months before they need these hands again." Sonny's heart sank. Rent day would be coming soon, and the rent man didn't care whether you had a job or not. All he wanted was his money. If they missed paying the rent by just one day, the rent man would change the locks and sell off their belongings at a public auction. I'll get a second job, Mama, Sonny said. I'll quit. No, Sonny, Mama interrupted. I got 2 weeks to find something else. You stay in school and learn everything you can, everything, so things will be better for you.
Okay, so there we just saw our answer to our first question. Sonny suggests that he wants to stop going to school so he can help his mom pay the rent. Our first question says, why doesn't Mama want Sonny to quit school to help get money to pay the rent? So we just heard her answer. Here's part of it on the screen down here. And when you answer this question, I want you to restate. So when you're restating, you're using the question to help you write your answer in a sentence. So how we would restate is, Mama doesn't want Sonny to quit school because she wants him to keep learning so that things will be better for him. Okay, so once we're done with the story, we'll go over all the answers. But again, I said, Mama doesn't want Sonny to quit school because she wants him to keep learning so that things will be better for him. So she doesn't want him to have to worry about working right now. She wants him to get an education so that in the future he can get a good job and support himself and not have to be stressed or in a situation like they are now. So you can pause if you need to keep writing there. Next question we're looking for says, why do you think Sonny felt too sad or worried to clap and sing when he would go and listen to Smilin' Jack play? So we're looking for Smilin' Jack coming up next.
After school that day, Sonny wandered through the streets of the quarter, tired and sad. There had to be something he could do to help raise the rent money. In Jackson Square, a huge crowd had gathered around one man playing his horn. Even from the back of the crowd, Sonny could hear how fine the music was. And no wonder the music was so good, so sweet, so clear. Everybody in New Orleans knew about Smilin' Jack. He had played his horn all around the country, even in the great jazz clubs up north. Smilin' Jack looked like the happiest man in the world, blowing his magic horn, collecting bucketfuls of coins. He seemed so happy, Sonny felt even worse about Mom and the rent money. The next day and the next, Sonny found himself back in Jackson Square after school. Smilin' Jack's music was too good to ignore. Sonny always stood toward the front of the crowd, though he still felt too sad and worried to clap or sing along.
Okay, so we hear he's enjoying the music, he likes to go, but he still feels too sad or worried to clap along. We have to do a little bit of inferring here. Why does he feel too sad or worried to clap along? Give me an answer out loud. You can take a guess if you're not sure. So I'm going to say he is still worried about being able to pay the rent, so he does not clap along. Okay, so again, and I made sure to include part of the question in my answer too. I said, you could say Sonny to make it more specific. Sonny is still worried about being able to pay the rent, so he does not clap along. Because even though he's enjoying the music, it's hard for him not to think about what's going on at home. So take a few seconds to write that answer. And then the next one says, for the first time in days, Sonny smiled. Why? That's what we're looking for next, when he smiles.
On the third day, Sonny stayed until the music was over and people began drifting from the square. Hey, young man, what's your name? Smiling Jack asked as he stepped down from the platform. Sonny, come on, sir. You need a special tune, Sonny? You looking mighty down. Sure wish I could get those hands clapping. I love your music, Smiling Jack, Sonny said, but a tune won't solve my problems. Problems? What kind of problems does a boy like you have? Sonny explained about his mother losing her job, about the rent man who'd put them out on the street if they missed paying the rent. Smiling Jack suddenly looked serious. Back in Mississippi, where I come from, they did the same thing to colored folks all the time. But then we found a way to fight back. Pay the rent man, had the world's best party at the same time. How'd you do that, Sonny asked. All the neighbors got together and threw themselves a rent party, Smiling Jack said. They baked sweet potato pies, fixed up some catfish and greens, then brought the food to the house where help was needed. They put out a big empty bucket too, and soon someone who knew how to pluck a fine banjo or blow a jazzy horn would start playing, make people sing and dance and forget their worries for a while. By the end of the night, people had dropped enough money in that bucket to put the old rent man back in his place. That sounds like a mighty fine idea, Sonny said. But where am I gonna find somebody who'll play for Mama and me? Play for poor people he doesn't even know? Smiling Jack faked a frown, tapped his foot. Some people say I play a pretty mean trumpet myself. For the first time in days, Sonny smiled.
Okay, so why is Sonny smiling there after that conversation with Smilin' Jack? So Sonny smiles because Smilin' Jack offers to play music at the rent party. Sonny smiles because Smilin' Jack offered to play music at the rent party. Okay, so far I have my first 3 answers here. You should have all 3 of those done. We'll go over them after. Just get as much as you can now. If you're not done, we're going to move on to number 4. When Sonny explains his rent party plan to Mama, does she think it's a good idea? So we're looking for when he's explaining the party.
When Sonny got home, he found Mama sitting near the stove. No luck again today, Sonny, she said. But I'll keep looking. I'll find me that job to keep us going. Sonny stirred the coals with a poker, trying to warm the damp room. Maybe you won't need that job right away, Mama, Sonny said. We're gonna have a party tonight and raise all the money we need for the rent. Every last nickel and dime. Smiling Jack told me how to do it. Don't be talking such foolishness, Sonny. Even if you're trying to cheer me up, Mama said, pulling her shawl tighter around her shoulders. It's not foolishness.
So here we're starting to get some of our answer. She's telling Sonny that he's talking foolishness, so she doesn't think that he's being serious about the idea.
Sonny insisted. I'm gonna prove it to you. Sonny, not.
Okay, so for number 4, Mama thinks the idea is foolish. The idea of a rent party. Mama thinks the idea of a rent party is foolish.
All the neighbors' doors, told them about the party and asked them to bring whatever food they could spare. He told them to get ready for the best music in the world. They were all gonna meet the great Smiling Jack. On his way home, Sonny found an empty bucket in an alley. He put it on the floor just inside the doorway and sat down beside Mama to wait. Mama shook her head, thinking her poor son had just plain lost his mind. A little while later, Sonny and Mama heard cheering and clapping in the street. Then someone knocked loudly on the door. Mrs. Camo, I sure am pleased to meet you, Smiling Jack, trumpet in hand, bowed to Mama. Well, I thought my boy had gone full moon crazy, Mama said, hardly believing her eyes. I sure love your music, Smiling Jack. I surely do. Before Mama could say another word, Smiling Jack pulled the bucket toward him, raised his trumpet, and started blowing one of Sonny's favorite songs, Bourbon Street Rag. The house and the street were soon filled with people. There was more food than Sonny had ever seen at one time, enough for everyone who was busy clapping and singing and dancing. All the neighbors had come to the party. Sonny saw the LeBlanc twins running through the crowd, and he saw the oldest woman in the neighborhood, Mrs. Clairvaux, sitting in a chair, tapping along to the music with her cane. Just one thing bothered Sonny at first. He heard only a few coins drop into the bucket. But as the night went on and the party started heating up, he heard more and more and more. At last, Smiling Jack stopped playing. Then without any music, he started singing. When the saints go marching in, when the saints go marching in, oh, I love to be in that number. Oh, when the saints go marching in, boom, 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 boom. The whole crowd joined in, singing the verses, then the beautiful chorus. Sonny felt like he was in another world, a place where the music and the singing he loved would never stop. When everyone had left, the bucket was brimming with coins. Mama counted all the money they needed for the rent and handed the rest to Smiling Jack. I thank you much, Smiling Jack, she said. I took what I need to see us through. This belongs to you. Smiling Jack shook his head. No, ma'am. That money belongs to anybody who needs it for rent or food. I've already been paid. This was the most fun I've had in a long time. Wherever I go from now on, I'm going to play at least one rent party like this.
Okay, so number 5 asks us, why doesn't Smilin' Jack take the extra money from Mama? Because we see that she took what she needed and then tried to give it back to pay him for playing at the party. Why didn't he take it? So I want you to start writing if you know the answer, take a guess if not. So Smilin' Jack doesn't take the extra money because he wants to save it for someone else who needs rent money. Okay, Smilin' Jack doesn't take the extra money because he wants to save it for someone else who needs rent money. And then we have one more question. I want you to find this one on your own. Why do you think Sonny wants to learn to play the trumpet?
Show those rent men how good folks help each other. Sonny walked Smiling Jack back to Jackson Square. Thank you, Sonny Comeau, for one of the happiest nights of my life, Smiling Jack said. I sure hope to see you next time I come to town. I know just where to find you now. They shook hands and hugged like old friends. Sonny walked home slowly, wishing the night would never end. He was glad he had listened to Mama. If he had quit school and taken a second job, he would never have met Smiling Jack. Never have learned about bringing the neighbors together for a rent party. It made him think about how much people could do for one another if they put their minds and hearts to it. Sonny figured he would stay in school and learn everything in his books and lessons, and maybe, just maybe, he'd learn to play the trumpet too. Beneath the bright glow of the street lamps, Sonny swayed back and forth, pretending he could blow a mean horn. I love Rent Party Jazz because African-American characters are the focus of the story. It's about jazz and it's about people helping one another. Great message. I grew up in Rhode Island and I could have used a rent party with some jazz music and cornbread. Thank you for watching Storyline Online. Make sure.
Okay. So I hope you enjoyed that story. I really liked it. It was something I'd never heard of before too. So it was cool to learn about that through a story. It's pretty inspiring how the whole neighborhood came together to help one family who was in need. So I think that's very special. And it's something we can all learn from, helping others who are in need of a little bit of extra help. So I have my answers here for 1 through 5. If you didn't get them, I'm going to show you and you can copy them. And then number 6, why do you think Sunny wants to learn to play the trumpet? That's what I want you to answer for the poll question. So I'll hold up my answers here, and you can pause the video right here if you need to copy them down. Okay. So again, you're answering number 6 in the poll question, and it's the end of our last class. Everyone who joined me every week and watched the videos, thank you so much. I'm really glad you got to participate in Camp Challenge with me. Even though I didn't get to meet all of you, I really enjoyed working with you this summer and creating the lessons. I hope you enjoyed them, and maybe I'll get to work with you in the future. So good luck with the school year, and I will see you later. Bye.